Hey squad, so since I got back from the Appalachian Trail, a lot of people have been asking me what certain terms mean. So, I have a list of them, and I'm going to explain them so you can all understand what I'm talking about when I say certain words. Day hiker. A day hiker is anybody who's out for the day, who's not going to spend the night, who is just strolling along, just doing their own thing. Probably just out for some Instagram photos, but anybody who's just spending any time walking in the woods. Section hikers. Section hikers are people who are also in the woods, obviously, that are gonna spend a night or two in the woods, who are not doing the entire trail, they're just doing a section of it. They are backpackers, they are people who are just doing a part of a longer trail. Have lashers. Now, lash stands for long section hiker. So they are people who are out there for a month, 2 months, doing 80, doing 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% of the trail. And why they went through the whole thing, they just don't have the time, they don't have the summer, they are joining their friend, who knows. Thru-hiker. A thru-hiker is somebody who hikes the entire trail. And there's a bit of a stigma here about how long the trail has to be in order to be considered a thru-hike. I would say, in my personal opinion, it would have to be longer than 100 miles, and even that's kind of short. But because, like, you don't want to, I hiked 2,000 miles to the woods. You don't want to jeopardize that. You don't want to, 100 miles. It's just like, really, you're gonna call yourself? But like, I get it. Just, you know what you're talking about, I guess. And some trail communities, like for instance, the long trail, say you're an end-to-ender instead of a thru-hiker. That's confusing, but I guess it depends upon what the organization leading the trail wants to call you, even though sometimes we hate those organizations. Nobo! Nobo stands for northbound, so it's somebody who is hiking north and they're going north. Makes perfect sense, right? Sobo! Sobo is the opposite of Nobo, southbound. Somebody who is hiking south. Make sense? Cool. Flip-floppers! Flip-floppers are people who start the trail in a certain location and then they'll either jump ahead and then come back and go south, or they'll start north and then they'll jump up and go south, or there's really no rules. They just do a part of the trail and then jump, do another part of the trail, and then maybe jump into the final part of the trail, or what, they just do it in long sections, but they do it in the year time frame or back to back, making it a thru-hiker. And generally, from my understanding, when you're going a certain direction, if you flip, that means to go down the trail, and then flop means to come back and fill in. So, for instance, I know a lot of people on the PCT skip the Sierra, so they would hike the desert section and then flip up to above the Sierras, finish the PCT, and then flop back. FKT. And FKT stands for fastest known time. It is the fastest known time anybody has ever hiked the trail. I mean, a lot of people do it running, and there's a lot of confusion about types of FKTs. They're supported, unsupported, self-supported. Do not know what any of those mean. If you care, Google it, because I don't care. Purist. So a purist needs to hike every single inch of the trail they're on. So if there's like a campsite with a north and a south entrance, they have to go in the way they came out. They do not want to skip even the smallest section of trail. Personally, for me, I believe in the continuous footpath. belief saying that you don't have to hike every single step of the trail. As long as you have a continuous footpath, you're good. White Blaze. So on the AT stands for Appalachian Trail. If you don't know that, now you do. And the so on the AT and the Long Trail, and I think the Foothills Trail, you follow a little square rectangle thing marked, painted on the trees, telling you that you're on trail, that this is the trail, that this is where you should be hiking, and it tells you where you should go, kind of. I mean, as long as you can see one, you're on trail, pretty much. Blue Blaze. So on the AT, Blue Blazes are the side trails. So your main trail is White Blazed, your side trail is Blue Blazed. So Blue Blazes go to shelters, water, campsites. Basically any trail that is not the main trail is Blue Blazed, which is kind of confusing because the hike I did before the Appalachian Trail, the Superior Hiking Trail, it was the other way around. So Blue Blazes were the main places, White Blazes were the other places, but any trail that's blazed will have a main color be the main trail and the side color be the side trail. Generally out east, as I said, the Long Trail, the Appalachian Trail, and the Foothills Trail, I think White Blaze is the main one, Blue Blaze is the side one. Yellow Blazing! Yellow Blazing comes from the lines on the road, because if you're a yellow blazer, that means you are a cheater and you hop in a car and go down the road and skip a section of trail. So if you skipped a section of trail, you're a yellow blazer. And I hold nothing against you as long as you're honest about it. If you lie about it, go to hell. Aqua Blazing. Aqua Blazing is where you use a canoe or a kayak to skip a section of trail, and you either go down a river or cross a lake. On the Appalachian Trail, I know of 3 of them, there might be more, but there's the lake in New Hampshire by Hampton, I forget its name, and the Shenandoah River, which a lot of people do, and the Potomac River, which the ATC says is not cheating for some reason. I don't know. Not a fan of the ATC. Anyways, yeah, so Aqua Blazing, I feel the same way about Aqua Blazing as I do about Yellow Blazing. Just be honest if you do it. If anybody holds it against you, that's their problem. Just be honest about it. Pink Blazing. Pink Blazing is where a hiker will change their pace to be around a girl, and basically they'll adjust their hiking speed, their town life, their everything just to fit their hike. So they'll no longer be hiking their own hike, they'll be hiking the girl's hike. Banana Blazing. Banana Blazing is where the hiker, instead of chasing a girl, they're chasing a guy. Platinum Blazing. Platinum Blazing simply means you adjust your pace to hit towns every night or every other night, or you just adjust your speed and to get to every town so you get a real bad, basically. Brown Blazing. Brown Blazing means you adjust your hiking pace to get to the privies on time so that you do not need to, Porcelain Blazing. Porcelain Blazing is like Brown Blazing, but instead of going to outhouses and privies, you are trying to get to real toilets, because you don't want to dig a cat hole in the woods. Which brings us to cat hole. Cat hole is a hole that you dig that you can, if you do not dig a cat hole, I hate you. Stealth camping. A stealth campsite is anywhere you camp that is not a designated campsite, or a shelter, I guess, but in general it's not a designated campsite. Cowboy camping. Cowboy camping means you're sleeping outside, not in a tent, not in a shelter, not in a hammock. You're just on the ground, maybe on your pad, on the ground, and you're just sleeping. Dry camping. Dry camping is where you do not camp near a water source. So, yeah. Widowmakers. Widowmakers are dead trees that you have to look out for when you're setting up your tent, because in the middle of the night they could fall on top of you. So you just want to make sure there's no dead trees above you that we call dead branches. We call those widowmakers because there have been instances where people have not looked out for them and then they fall on your tents. Hiker midnight. Hiker midnight is generally right when the sun goes down because you have nothing better to do. So everybody goes to sleep. That's pretty much it. So if somebody says, oh my god, it's hiker midnight, shut up, you know that people are trying to sleep. Basically, whenever it gets dark, people just want to go to sleep because nothing better to do. We have bear boxes, bear lines, and bear bags. Bear boxes, or what you put your food in at night. It's usually at the shelter or the campsite. Not every camp, shelter, or site has one, so then you have to use your own protection from bears. Which brings us to bear bags. Bear bags is generally your food bag that you just hang in a tree overnight. And a bear line is the thing, pretty much the rope. Your rope has a certain name for it, doesn't it? I don't know. Your rope that you use to, bear lines are basically the rope you use to hang your bear bags. And some campsites have a steel cable that you can hang it from. A zero. A zero stands for 0 miles. It's where you don't hike any miles. You generally do this when you're out of town, but there are people who do that in the woods because of weather or because of they want to party, or I don't know. But it's just generally just take a day off, give your legs a break. A Nero. A Nero stands for nearly a zero. So it's where you hike a small amount of miles and you take the rest of the day off, or you take up the first part of the day off and you just hike a little bit, or you know, a couple miles. And a Nero, there's no defining miles about how many miles a Nero can be, because like when I started the Appalachian Trail, a Nero was like 4 miles, and then by the end a Nero became like 8 miles. Like, so, hero. A hero is somebody who is going to town, but they are able to do everything they need to do in town, laundry, resupply, whatever they need to do, and get back on trail within the same day. Vortex. So a vortex, or the vortex, is where you are planning on not spending as much time in town as you would like, but you end up spending the night, or you spend up more time, or you're just planning on nearing but you end up zeroing, or you plan on zeroing but you end up double zeroing, or that kind of thing. It's like the opposite of hero. And drop / mail drop. So a drop, or a mail drop, is where you or somebody you know sends you something to a post office, like a box, could be food, could be gear, and you simply have to pick it up. And you're just like, yo, I got a box in the next town, I have a drop in the next town. I need to pick this up, I need to be at the post at a certain time, and it's a nightmare. Bounce. Now, if you get a box and it's priority mail, you were able to forward it to any other post office within the United States. So, if whatever in the box you do not need, you were able to bounce it down the trail by forwarding it to another post office that's down the trail. So that's what bounce means. Base weight. Base weight is the weight of your backpack and everything in it, minus food and fuel and water. Yeah. Ultralight. Ultralight refers to your, I think to be ultralight you have to be under 20 something pounds. I really don't know. Ultralight just means you try to get everything as low as possible. You buy the most expensive gear because it's the lightest. You buy pretty much everything. You don't carry anything you don't need to. And yeah. Puffy. Puffy refers to your down jacket. This thing that keeps you warm. I do not know why it's called a puffy because it probably puffs, but I've always called these puffies, so yeah. Trail name. Trail name is a different identity you go by in the woods. For me, mine is Tetanus, which is why the channel's called Fun with Tetanus, if you were wondering. So yeah, the reason to do this is because it's fun. I don't know. I know for me it was just like you're not the person you are in your past life before. You're not the person you were before a trail. So like, you're out there discovering yourself. So may as well give that self a new name. And if you come to trail already having a trail name, that's fine. But if you give yourself a trail name, that's kind of stupid. Hiker funk. Hiker funk is the way you smell because you're in the woods for a long time. You don't shower. You don't use laundry. You don't do laundry. So after a week or a couple days, you're gonna smell. And everybody around you will. And then your gear will start smelling. And then everything will just smell. Hiker trash. Hiker trash is accepting your hiker funk and just not caring. And it's also knowing that you look homeless and not caring. Hiker hunger. Hiker hunger refers to the next level of hunger you get when you're hiking, because after weeks of hiking constantly, you're at calorie deficiency. So basically it's the constant feel of being hungry, and it doesn't go away because as much food you shove in your face, you're always at a calorie deficiency. Night hiking. Night hiking is just what it sounds like. It's hiking at night when there's no sun in the dark, but you generally have a headlamp, so you're fine. Slack packing. Slack packing is where you become a day hiker for the day or a section of time, because you're slacking. You're not carrying everything you need. It's generally you are going back to the same place you start the night, so you'll leave town, you'll go to a trailhead, you'll do the hike for the day, and then you'll go back to the town, and then you'll start where you left off the next day. Trail magic! Trail magic is anything that is unexpected that is good, basically. Whether that be a cooler full of beverages on the side of the trail, whether that be a ride to town, whether that be somebody giving you 20 bucks in a subway, whether that be, that actually happened to me, whether that be somebody doing a buffet on the trailhead. Trail angel! Trail angel are the people who provide trail magic, and they are the best people in the world. Hiker box. Hiker boxes are generally at hostels or at outfitters, and they're basically a free box of gear or sometimes food, trail food, that other hikers leave for you if you wanted to take it. And usually it's a bunch of but if you want it, it's there, and you can sometimes find some nice stuff. LNT simply stands for leave no trace. So pack it in, pack it out. Whatever you bring in, you bring out. False summits. False summits are when you're hiking up a mountain and you think you see the top and you get there and then it's not the top. That is the false summit. Cairns. Cairns are the piles of rocks at the tops of the mountains, marking where the trail goes. Generally, where there's no trees above tree line, where you can't really have blazes and stuff like that. So there's just a pile of rocks. I know that sounds weird. That sounds weird saying that. Switchbacks. Switchbacks are the fun way of going up a mountain, because if it's too steep, you go zigzag up the mountain instead of directly up the mountain. And when you have them, you think they're annoying, and when you don't, you wish you did. Bushwhacking. Bushwhacking is where you are whacking bushes. No, bushwhacking is where you are forging your own trail, or the trail is very unwell marked and you are just pushing through brush and leaves and branches. Blowdowns. Blowdowns are, simply put, trees that have fallen and are in your way across the trail. And that concludes the Hiker Dictionary. If I have forgotten any, I know I have, because like there's a lot that either a couple people say or nobody really uses, or those are just the ones that pretty much everybody uses. And yeah, so I guess that's it. So until next time, may your elephants fly.